In this short 5-minute video, I'm going to demonstrate how you can paint a mermaid and her friend. And this is done with watercolors. And here's what you are going to need. You are going to need a pencil and eraser, a large brush, and very important to small brushes, a black pen, your paints, a template of a mermaid, which is helpful, and your palette. First, I'm going to start talking about composition and the rule of thirds, and imagine a tic-tac-toe across your entire page. And what you don't want is a bullseye in the middle with all the action happening in the middle. You want to sort of center the action around the middle where the tic-tac-toe lines intersect, not a bullseye. You want things to spread out so that the viewer's eye moves around the page. Lightly trace your mermaid on your page. Remember, not smack in the middle. Parts of her can be in the middle. And then erase any areas that you feel are too dark. And you can do that as you go. You've got your color wheel with primary and secondary colors, and your palette is also round. So you want to set that up so that the colors that are very different are far apart, and that keeps it from getting muddy. And you can paint any mud that you want right in the middle. Blue towel comes in handy for wiping things up, and you're going to need this pen later. Begin wet into wet, and if you notice, we don't paint any of the exterior, we don't paint any of the water in this painting. We're only working on the mermaid, and we're going to paint her as colorfully as possible. So starting wet into wet, apply your first color, working in small sections, and sort of dry any areas where there are extra water that you don't want the paint to spread into. And working around with my secondary colors so that they don't intersect and flow into each other too much. That's going to make a neutral brown or black or something ugly that I don't want on my colorful mermaid. Working on the tail first and continuing in this manner where I'm wetting the paper with clean water first and then adding just blobs of color and gently moving them around if I need to on the surface of the water. Don't worry about any little splash or making everything perfect. I'm going to turn it upside down now, and I'm going to start working on her body and her arms. You can turn your paper any way that you like to keep your hand out of the paint. Applying the first color, I'm going to do warm and then cool and then back to warm. I've left a little white area between her tail and her body, and that helps divide her in half. You can leave little white spaces in between. It's nice, adds a little highlight. Up where I've done the hair is a little bit of underpainting. It's dull. I'm going to add more colors now, lifting up my paper, which is taped to a piece of plexiglass. And I'm going to add some green, which I'm using very sparingly as sort of an accent color. And I added her little friend, the fish, in the exact same way. A little bit of clean water and applying the color directly into it. And what I'm using for the black is a Pilot V7 retractable pen. It is not waterproof ink, so it dissolves in the water where you apply it onto the wet paper. It spreads, and you can use the tip of the pen to sort of push the ink right into the paper. Vary your pressure, vary the amount of time that the pen lays on the paper, and whether you apply it onto the wet paper or onto the dry and then wet it, it has a really nice spreading out effect. It doesn't spread too much, it stops more quickly than the black watercolor paint does.